Man United have made contact with Bournemouth for Antoine Semenyo. He has a 65 million release clause. We heard about this from Ornstein a few weeks ago, and that sent our fan base into a sort of period of discussion. Antoine Semenyo, discuss. Could he come into Man United? Is it the right move? Left wing back, left or right 10, right wing back. He's very versatile. But should Man United be trying to find £65 million when the midfield clearly is the point of contact of improvement? However, market opportunity, mate. Market opportunity exists in football. We hear that cliche. We hear that saying all the time. If there is an opportunity to get a player that you didn't think you was able to get for a release clause that you wasn't really sure was there, and then other teams are in for him, you maybe got to look at it. But here's the catch. Manchester City are at the front of the queue as well. They have made contact. Tottenham are pushing for a deal for him. Now, as much as we can laugh at Tottenham and this, that, and the other, he can go Spurs, starting left winger, attacker, be the main man, main whole team kind of around him, play all the games, this, that, and the other. Don't have to play left wing back, running his backside off. Kudus on the other side. Kind of exciting. London, all of that. City. Well, we know why it's attractive to go to City, but Doku's doing his thing. You know what I mean? Shirky's definitely come to the forefront, and you got Foden on the right as well. Savinho, more competition. Hey, Antoine, I'm telling you now, mate. Come Man United, 90 minutes guaranteed until Ruben starts bringing off defenders. That's different. But 90 minutes guaranteed, bro. So what I need from you guys is this. Should we be in for Antoine Semenyo? Stylistically, is it a good fit? Does it make sense? We can't get Anderson, Belabor, Wharton, and all that stuff now. Would you spend £65 million on Antoine Semenyo now in January? And the other question is, do you think Antoine Semenyo would want to join us? Do you think he would want to play left wing back for us? Does he want to do that with his career right now? Let me know in the chat below and the comments below, man. Welcome back to United View. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Nearly at the end of the week. Keep your heads up high. Big up to each and every single one of you. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the Bruno exit latest. There's still a little bit more news trickling through from some of the things he has been saying. It's always going to spark more reports, more digging, more people talking to certain people, and then more articles. So we're going to talk about that. And again, Kobbie Mainoo. Kobbie wants Napoli. We do know this, but there's a little bit more in terms of intent from Napoli to get this done. Fabrizio talking about that as well. So, Owen, not much to talk about.
I know, yes. A jam-packed show, as always is the case. Manchester United in the headlines, Flex. Kobbie Mainoo wants Napoli. Bruno Fernandes, possibly an exit in the summer to Saudi. Antoine Semenyo, could he be coming in? There's so much to discuss, but more importantly, Flex, what's more important than transfers? What's important than Manchester United? I'll tell you what's more important than Manchester United and transfers: your health. And here's how you can improve it.
Today's video is sponsored by our friends at Oxford Natural and their all-new natural supplement, Optimum Day and Night. Thousands across the UK, USA and beyond are smashing their health goals with Oxford Natural. Optimum Day gives you steady energy, curbs your cravings and keeps your metabolism firing all day. Optimum Night helps you relax, get restorative sleep, recover and keep burning fat while you rest. It's not a magic pill, but it will help you reach your health goals. Check out some of the incredible results. Two of our own. Owen lost over £100 in 10 months and KG dropped £30 in 4 months. In 8 months, football legend Michael Owen lost £35 and Robbie from AFTV, Don Robbie, lost over £80. And in 6 months, Anita, an award-winning immigration lawyer, lost £44. And Linda, a law firm executive, lost over £50. No gimmicks, no needles, just results. Oxford Natural, let's get to work.
Yes, as always, you can get to work by scanning that QR code right there, and you can subscribe. You can save up to 70% off your first order. You can get your Optimum Day, which is good for your weight loss goals. You can get your Optimum Flex, and you know what to do with his hands there for a second. You can get your Optimum Night, which is good for your restorative sleep. You can get them individually or combined. Stack them any which way you please. And you can get Optimized today. As always, all the information is in the video description below. It's pinned in the chat. You can go to the landing page and find out more and then get Optimized.
When you buy it, and click it in your cart, like you got, that's,
Optimized. Place order. and be optimized. Yes, we do have a lot to talk about today, Fleck, because contact has been made. Approach FC, that's what we are, because of course you can't do a transfer right now. You know, the January transfer window, or shall I say, the January transfer window.
And you always say this.
January is not, it's not yet, we're still in December, but January is around the corner, which means winter transfers. And Antoine Semenyo, just when we thought we were out, we've been pulled back in, Flex, when it comes to this one, because Manchester United and, as you say, Manchester City have approached Bournemouth in the last 48 hours to understand the terms of Antoine Semenyo's £65 million release clause. That's according to Fabrizio Romano. So pretty top tier sources on that one. Now, Tottenham are also pushing for a move, but the final decision, as is always the case with these kind of things, remains with the player, Antoine Semenyo. And it's interesting because, of course, we know that there's a release clause. David Ornstein reported on said release clause, but as we have seen with other players in the past, right, Flex, sometimes these release clauses can be oddly specific in terms of, it was a bit like when we did the Cunha one, when we said to them, oh, can we spread it across was it like 4 years or 5 years or whatever? And they were like, no, it's like 2 years. That's the release clause, or 3 years, whatever it was. So you need to still know the specifics. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is as simple as the Football Manager, here's 65 million, bang. But sometimes it's, well, do you consider it, the release clause activated if it was 65 over 5 years? Do you need it all up front? What's the conditions? What does this all look like? And the race is going to be on. And as we spoke about yesterday, Manchester United initially weren't necessarily totally keen on doing a January move for Antoine Semenyo because they're trying to pull together as much money as they can, save as much money as they can for the summer. We know there's going to be big movements for midfielders being linked to the likes of Elliot Anderson, Adam Wharton, Carlos Baleba, et al. But as you said in your intro, this is seen as a market opportunity and something that United can't miss out on, because if they wait, another club like a City, like a Spurs, like a Liverpool is going to swoop in. It feels very much like Antoine Semenyo is indeed going to leave Bournemouth in January. Therefore, if Manchester United want the player, they've got to act now. The question is, will they act now?
Yeah. And what's interesting is how this is changing, because while you're doing that, I was just trying to fact check of what Ornstein was saying before, because there's a couple of things. When he first sort of broke this this information when Ornstein first broke the information and the details that Semenyo has this release clause, I seem to remember him saying something about the first 2 weeks of the window, because it allows Bournemouth to get a replacement, so they're happy, so it makes sense for them. Or they don't do it then, and then he stays for the rest of the season, which is obviously good news for Bournemouth, and they still get a good fee because he signed a new deal. So I do think there's some intricacies around how long that release clause is active for in this winter window as well. So there's the first bit. And I also found this from probably about mid-November, when Ornstein said that basically the likelihood of him moving, the most likely of him moving is to City. He said it even in November. He said, for the time being, this is November 21st, from the many conversations I've had, those three teams, City, Liverpool and Spurs, seem to be the ones genuinely in the frame. Man United were there in the summer, but they went for Mbeumo instead. Is this a position they're looking for? Question. Is this a player they're still in for? I'm not aware of that at this point. And of course, finances would play a part. He says the industry is telling us that if there's to be a move, it's more like Man City, Liverpool, or Tottenham direction. Now, this was, of course, like I said,
that was then. Exactly. That was then. This is now.
This literally said it. That was them. This is now. And things change. And the fact that Man United, according to Fabrizio Romano, this is not Ornstein, sometimes they have their little private battles, public battles of like, well, he can say that, but I'm saying this. But the very latest update from somebody of note is now saying, in the last 2 days, mate, they've rang for conditions. They want to know what it looks like to be able to get him. That doesn't mean that Ornstein was lying. These are transfers. Transfers move and evolve all the time. You go from, I don't want him, I'm not looking at that, to, that release clause is a bit cheap. Spurs are in, Liverpool are in. This, I'll tell you what, in the end, we might have wanted him, but I'll tell you what, this might be the best chance to get him. So Yeah,
maybe Ruben. Look, he's
Ruben's publicly
working
praising him
in the press conference, going really. First of all, he goes, "They've got a special manager, special player, not players,
one
special
guy.
player,
Yeah,
player." And then when he's asked to follow up again, he's like, "Really special player." Clearly, he
loves
really
him.
likes him.
Loves him.
So wouldn't even be shocked to see that report come out in the next couple of days of like, well, they weren't sure, but Ruben really pushed for it.
Pushed
he
for
really,
it.
really
Exactly.
wanted him.
And let's be honest. If I look at the attributes that Semenyo has, now look, he is an out-and-out attacker. I give him that. Like he's a winger, right? Left and right, very comfortable. So in terms of our left and right 10 positions, can easily play that. With his attributes, I think he's right up Ruben's street. You know what I mean? He's physical, he's powerful, he can run, he's fit. Obviously, he has output on both feet. You know what I mean? He can take the ball past people. He's got a decent end product, which he's been working on in the last sort of year or so, where he's really come on. And you could see Ruben definitely making him like the Ahmad convert on the other side. Like it just works. Now, like I say, the order of ceremonies, I wouldn't start here.
I was just about to say, I was just looking at the chat, and I was thinking this is exactly, in fairness, Flex, what you predicted. So Red Baron says, we don't need more wingers, midfielders, please. And I would love some UV clips can probably go out and find it. Yeah. You said a couple of weeks ago, you're like, the problem is what's going to happen here is realistically, we're probably not going to sign a midfielder in January because the midfielders we're looking for are these really expensive, high quality midfielders, but they're only available in the summer because their clubs aren't going to, you're not going to get Adam Wharton mid-season. You're not going to get Elliot Anderson mid-season. Carlos Baleba, maybe, but that's because his form's dropped off quite a bit. And even then,
that Brighton, is still not.
Probably not happening. So the midfielder thing isn't going to happen in January. So if we were to get Semenyo, then it's totally not fair on his part. But there's almost this immediate criticism of, well, we don't need another wing back. We don't need another winger. We need a midfielder. And to your point a few weeks ago, we're going to have to come to terms with the fact that it's just not going to happen in that order, So, because that's what it will be, won't it? It will be why are we going for this position when we should be going for this position,
These bloody idiots again, Ineos out. Why have you done that? And football's it's not Football Manager, is it? It's not.
And like you said, as the report says, in an ideal world, probably Man United might not even be going for him. But it's a case of, like they said, it's an opportunity. And they're conscious of, well, if we are to sign Antoine Semenyo, it's now. It's because we won't get him otherwise, because another club will get him.
Because
we
he won't be available in the summer.
So we have to get him now. But it's not going to stop the conversation, isn't it? About look at it. We need a midfield. We need two midfielders. Blah blah blah. We got our priorities all wrong. But maybe the plan is just to get those two midfielders in the summer, because that's when you can get them. You can't get them now.
The plan has to be to get those guys in the summer, because we can't. You just
can't
get them now.
We can't get them now.
We can discuss this or want this all we want. We can't. And then you get into, well, just get anyone then. Get someone in January to help out. Like, that's not.
We won't be happy with that. We won't be happy with that.
Doing mad stuff.
Let's say we get Conor Gallagher, we'll be like, oh, we got Conor Gallagher. Well, but if you're going to get a midfielder in January, it's probably Conor Gallagher-ish.
Along those lines.
What I mean?
Along those lines, man. It ain't going to be the creme de la creme.
No.
Top. Like, those guys are not available. And then on top of that, not only are they not available, they're very expensive, double the price of this. Not far off. Even this 65 million, I'm questioning, because I'm like, for us to find that in January, let's talk then, because what does that mean? They do let Xerxes go in the end to free up some things for that. We're going to talk about Kobbie in a minute. Do they rob Peter to pay Paul, have a couple loans to ease the burden for the rest of the season? Then they can look at moving some money around to, backfill that Antoine Semenyo payment. Who knows? That the world of football finance, I'm not Kieran Maguire, so I don't really know how that's going to work. But in terms of just basic maths of, we did kind of run out of money or push ourselves to the limit in the summer with what we spent. That's why after Lommans, we couldn't, well, he was the last bit, but we couldn't do the Baleba deal. Once we bought Sesko, Cunha and Mbumo, we had like a spare 18 million to get like a Lommans, but we didn't have 100 million plus. We couldn't do it.
Well, yeah, from a PSR perspective, like I said, we're actually in a fairly decent position. But, as is always the case with us, we're close to the line because financially, still dealing with those sins of the past of, the wage bill being what it is and still paying off some transfer fees from a few seasons ago. But once we get to the end of the season, a lot of that does go away. And the hope is in the summer, we're going to have this, a lot of money to be able to spend because from a PSL perspective, we'll be in a good spot, even better spot. And also quite a few players are going to be leaving. People like Casemiro are going to be going and others, which we'll talk about in a bit. So maybe the mindset would have been, Semenyo, we'll get him in the summer for that £50 million release clause. But it's like, actually, we can't. We're going to have to get him now. And again, I always say this about, okay, what do we actually want? And are we willing to be realistic with what we actually want? I think everyone's unanimous in want a midfielder, probably need two actually midfielders.
Definitely.
Who do we want? Okay, it is those like Elliot Anderson, Adam Wharton, Carlos Baleba. Every single one of them is north of like 70 million quid ish. You know what I mean? Easy, depending on which one of those you're picking from. So each one of those, and they're not available in January. They're just not available in January. Antoine Semenyo shouldn't really be available in January. If he didn't have the release clause, Bournemouth would not be selling him in January. It's an opportunity. So just because if we did sign him in January, that also doesn't mean that Man United aren't conscious of like, oh, we don't need midfielders now. We're not going to get a midfielder in the summer. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. I'm sure those plans and those conversations are already in place. The need for a midfielder is evident by the fact that we did agree personal terms with Carlos Baleba in the summer. It just couldn't get the money together and weren't willing to pay, rightfully so, like 100 million quid to get him, which was the right call, by the way.
Yeah.
So, like you said, Flex, it's not always the order of ceremonies doesn't go in the way that you think it will always go.
Yeah, Wassett does it there. Squad building isn't always linear. We look at it and say, just like the squad builders will, the football department will look at it and say, what do we need? What do we need by the end goal of what we want this team to look like for you, Ruben, and versus what we think, etc. And they would have mapped this all out. Window one, well, the biggest problem is scoring goals. So let's just all in. And this Onana situation's got to stop. As long as we fix that this summer, we'll work the rest out and see what goes on. Okay, window two. When I say window two, I'm not really thinking of January. But actually we should, because look, you can get someone like Semenyo. So window two. We'll see how we're going along. We've got one game a week. As long as we're doing fine, we'll try and keep it as tight as possible if everyone's happy and we're all right. But if something pops up, we'll pick up the phone and we'll look at it. Window three, which is this summer. Well, we know that from even window one, we wanted midfielders, but we couldn't do it. So we're going big on that. We're going to get a new whole midfield department, especially with big exits, potentially Bruno. We'll talk about that. Definitely Casemiro. Never know with Harry Maguire if he doesn't get re-signed. Joshua Zirkzee, Kobbie. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, and you need surgery there. And so on and so forth. Then, right, defenders, okay, Lenny Yoro hasn't progressed how we maybe thought he would have. Need an experienced guy. Leach he hasn't looked the same since them two knee injuries. Aiden Heaven, maybe he's done all right, this, that, and the other.
Herod Scheme says seeing the hole in the midfield is scary when it comes to squad building, not going to lie. But I don't think Man United don't see that. I think Man United very clearly see that. That's why they were going after Baleba. I think, like I said, I think we just need to reevaluate what is actually possible in January when it comes to that midfield. You could go and get a midfielder in January, but is it long-term the right option? And this is when I go back to talking out both sides of our mouths, because we've called for this and asked for this in the past. Don't be so reactive with the signings. Don't go and, just go get someone. How often did we do it with strikers? And we're still paying for that now. And we haven't really done it with the strikers. You could argue with like Shesko, what have you, whereby I'll just get someone in short term, get someone in on loan, and then that position gets put off for another year. Yeah. Let's bring in Conor Gallagher in January, and old Mainoo would end up buying him, and then go, actually, we don't need to get a midfielder now in the summer. We got one in January. So
unless you do buy him, and he is part of a squad, like you have him as like the Ugarte, who's like the fourth choice, third choice, like rotation. He's always going to be that, but we just bought him now. Like we bought him now for 30 million. And then in the summer, you go and get
even that we would still be having the same conversations about, oh, we need midfielders. We need 100%. Midfielders. No, it's not going to end bringing in Conor Gallagher, is it? You know, it's not going to end doing that. We're like, all right, we got a midfielder now. It's always, I always say this with January. With January, there is always a select pool of players that are available. Some are just not even up for conversation. There is a select pool, and you're picking from those. And sometimes the pool's better than it usually is. Sometimes it's not. But we know there's a select pool of players that are available in this January, which are people, and people like Antoine Semenyo are outliers of people that usually wouldn't be. But the rest are those people that are like, Conor Gallagher. Some people, usually it's people that have either like fallen out with clubs or they're open for a loan because they're not getting game time, like a Kobbie.
Or like João Gomez in a relegation battle.
Yeah, or in a relegation battle. That's usually the criteria, isn't it? Yeah. That's usually about it. So
or like you say, this Antoine Semenyo one where it ain't that. It's like there's this release clause that exists. Yeah. He signed a new deal in the summer for this, so there's opportunities in January. He's been promised if the right deal happens. If not, you stay and you're allowed to leave in the summer for whatever. Basically, like what Matheus Cunha did. Matheus Cunha did it. He signed a new deal. I can't remember when it was, just before January or probably in January, I think it was, and stayed at Wolves until the summer, and then we activated a release clause that they put in. Because, he signed like a 4-year deal, but it's not a real 4-year deal. It's written into the contract of, I'll sign this. This keeps your value for the club. So you can get 60 odd million for me. As long as you say yes to this set price and let someone trigger it, i.e. in this case, it was us.
And for the record, I think we still could end up getting a midfielder, depending on what happens with Kobbie. Depending on what happens with Kobbie, if he goes out on loan, then maybe United do look for another loan, and maybe Kobbie's exit is actually dependent on bringing in another loan from a midfielder, right? Like for like. But in terms of a big signing, it's going to be Semenyo, and that's probably about it. In terms of like proper squad building, when you're talking about adding to the first team, legitimately 11, long-term making us better. That's just, aside from like a Semenyo, that's not going to happen in January.
Yeah. Unless something, again, the January window does throw up something. Like in football, you can never say never.
Unless some big domino falls, you know.
I mean, but Anderson falls out with Marinakis or some shit like that, and I don't know, something happens. One thing before we move on to Semenyo from him is just the individual himself. Because we have to remember the last bit that Fabrizio says, and he says this is down to Semenyo. Man United have called. Man City have called. He goes on to say, Spurs are pushing. He said, final decision lies with Semenyo. If we just, it's this hypothetical FC, of course, because we're not in Semenyo's head. None of us know him. What would he be looking at? What would be more attractive? Spurs, smaller club. Yeah, Thomas Frank might get sacked. It's Spursy, all of that. But you go there. He's the main man, absolute main man. Starts every game on the left. Kudus on the right. Xavi Simons and Maddison to come back in, except Kulusevski to come back in. They build. He's in London, etc. And they could offer him not as big a wages as everybody else because it's Spurs. So that's one thing. Development-wise, you're going to go there and be the main guy, but it's Spurs. They're probably going to change the manager, this, that, and the other one. So maybe not Spurs. Then you go City. Doku starts pretty much every game. He's having a great season. So you've got to already go and compete. Unless... Pep could be like, nah, mate, listen, I know Doku's I want you to be the guy. He might gas you up, whatever. Going to compete for Premier League titles every single year, pretty much. Going to compete for everything pretty much every year. Big money, easy. You got
you want to talk about like, the problem is going to United is he'll be converted into another position. Let's not pretend like Pep Guardiola doesn't convert almost every player into something that he wants, right? Yeah. They've got O'Reilly playing left back. The majority of his youth career, he's been playing like attacking midfielder or what have you. Pep's turned centre backs into full backs. Even people say like a Jack Grealish, one of the criticisms with Pep with a Grealish is that they take the flair out of the player sometimes, doesn't he? He makes them very robotic. This is the way you have to fit into the system, this, that, and the other. But obviously, like you say, it's Pep Guardiola, it's Manchester City. You're getting money. You're playing for, arguably one of the best teams in the world. You're going to win trophies. That's what Pep does. But also it's a Manchester City where still are not really sure like what their ceiling is at the moment, because they're not the City that they were 3 or 4 years ago. Last season they had a poor season. This season they're better, but at points they can still be a bit shaky, can't they? And you're not really sure, you know.
I don't think that'll be enough to put him off, though.
What they're like. No, I don't think it's enough to put. I don't think it's enough to put him off. But I just think it's, you know, it's something to consider. I think also it's quite curious that in the summer when we were going for these signings of like Mbeumo and Cunha and Šeško, Man United were big on the, you know, we have to get the go ahead. You want to come to Manchester United before we put in the bid for you. Are you going to give us the all clear that it's United and nobody else? Yes, right. We'll put in the bid. And in the case of Cunha, he's a Man United fan. He's already kissing the badge. Wasn't that difficult one to do. Brian Mbeumo, the same. Man United fan. Yes, Brentford were trying to persuade him, but he was very steadfast. It's only United. Šeško was between us and Newcastle. You know, Man United is the bigger club still in that one. And he's like, all right, I'll go to Man United. This one's a lot more difficult.
100%.
And
Liverpool,
also,
City.
it was, I was just checking, and Carl Anker wrote this today in this article about Antoine Semenyo to Manchester United. He said, does it make sense? He actually grew up an Arsenal fan, Antoine Semenyo, just to point out. So we've got no leverage in that one.
Fan thing, yeah.
Sometimes we do sort of lean on the, did you support Man United as a kid? Yeah, all right, yeah, put in the bid.
Yeah.
So he's going to be pretty, you know, relaxed, call it down the middle. And actually, when it comes to that, you know, the Arsenal support thing, I know they're not linked to him, but you never know with Arsenal. You know, we saw it with Eberechi Eze, last minute swooped in, you know, with the Spurs one. Who's to say they don't? Not that they need probably more wingers, but who's to say that they don't just go, oh, fuck it. We'll go
just
for it.
in the last 48 hours where Fabrizio's saying it's United and City that have called and Tottenham pushing, Liverpool haven't really been spoken about. You know, they've got a lot on their plate, but can't rule that out either, because, you know, if he went there, he'd probably be their best left winger. Antoine Semenyo. Most, you know, obviously you got Gakpo, Verts plays off there sometimes Ekatike does, but you know, they wouldn't be mad. There's clearly a succession plan going on with Salah. What's going on there? Probably going to be his last year. I wouldn't put it past them. So yeah, I think if you're him, you got some thinking to do of what you think's best. And also, I know like we see it as like, yeah, obviously put him left wing back. That'd be wicked. Oh, that'd be so good. He might not want to do that. The people around him, his agents and his coaches, his family, or himself, might be like, I don't know, man. I'm smashing it as a forward. Do I want to run up and down? Like, I'm not saying he can't, but the player just actually might not want to do that. It's like, nah, man. Fuck, like he's when we obviously had a bit of banter with him in the summer, it was quite funny. Seemed like a chill guy. I'm just like thinking in my head. I could imagine he was just like, oh, nah, running up and. Bro, that left wing back thing's long, bro. You got to do a lot of running. I'm not really on that, man. Like, I'd rather just be a winger and just, at least I know I'm that. Maybe, or he might want to push himself and, you know what I mean? And be like, yes, it's Man United, biggest club in the world. And then there's wages. And then there is wages. Like, not that we are breaking the bank anymore to do silly things, but we could comfortably give him 65 million deal. You're giving him minimum 150, aren't you?
Well, Flex, this is what the people really want to know, okay, when it comes to this one. You've got your Kev coins. No, you've got your Kev coins. Would you be willing to put Kev coins on Antoine Semenyo coming to Manchester United in January? And before you give me your answer, this means we've got to play the Kev coins jingle.
Kev coins, they're worthless and silly. Kev coins, buy money freely. Kev coins, it's time to be crazy. Kev coins, where goes this fake money?
Where goes this fake money, Flex?
That's good. That's good.
Keeps going.
Little Afrobeat, little dancehall feel.
Kev coins.
So where you putting your Kev coins?
I like that. That was pretty good. When did you make this?
This morning.
Yeah, you got to show KG that. Where's the Kev coins going? I invested him into Mount at one time, didn't I? That's a good investment.
Good return.
Good return. I think I put a bit on Shaw as well at the time.
Yeah, good return.
Good
Yeah.
return. Can't remember what else I did at the time. How many? How many do I have? 100. 10.
And
Oh my
it's
God.
just in general, just would you put some Kev coins on it?
Yeah, we got to put some in there because it's a
Mm.
thing. He's available, and we've picked up the phone, so you got to invest some. See, I still think we don't get him. I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna put out of my 100, I'm gonna put 37.
It's very specific.
Yeah, I wanted to be specific. Yeah, 37 Kev coins out of 100.
37 Kev coins. Yeah, it's not. He's not feeling likely.
Just under 40%. 4 out of 10.
I will put. I'm kind of with you a little bit.
What are you saying? 50? Are you saying 50-50?
No. Probably out of 100. Probably 42.
So we're both essentially saying 40% chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not the favourites, but I suppose we're in the race.
Yeah.
You know, depending on what happens, I might put a little bit more.
Because we're definitely interested. We can't.
Yeah.
I remember, to be fair to KG, I remember talking on one of the Flexing KG shows when we were talking about Semenyo, and I was like, I do like him, but there's just no way we're going to be able to find that. There's no way we're going to go for him. And to be fair now, we are trying to. So he's right on that. He's right on that. Yeah. We're trying. That.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're trying. So yeah, I'd say 40%. We'll see how it goes. I'm just not sure he wants to. I've got no inkling to this. Is just my feeling. I just don't think he'll want to do that.
You're waiting for the story to say Antoine Semenyo wants to move to Manchester United. You're waiting for that. You're waiting for that moment.
Yeah,
that's that indication.
I just think he'll just choose somewhere else. Like, and also the competition in the 10s, like he'd be great left 10. Obviously, got Cunha there, it's fine. You know, strength and depth, by the way, don't care. But big money move like that, he ain't going to go somewhere where he ain't going to get into the 10 positions because Ahmad and Mbeumo are there. Sorry, Mbeumo and Cunha are there most of the time. I think but then, like I say, going to City basically means that as well. It's you and Doku got to fight it out. It's you and Cherky, you and Foden are on the right, whoever, Savinho, you got to fight it out. The only place he's guaranteed to just play every game is Spurs as a winger or United as a left wing back.
I know Spurs are in the Champions League and we lost to Spurs in the Europa League final. So this is quite, ironic. But I just see like Bournemouth to Spurs it's not a sideways move, but it's also not very up. You know what I mean? It's just kind of a little bit.
But in football terms,
in football terms, in terms of but actually, look, let's face it, Spurs. What are the chances of them being in Europe next season? Because like Champions League, they're not going to go win it, are they?
No.
In terms of finishing in those sort of top, 7 positions in the Premier League, do we think they're going to do that at this point?
No, but
we're more likely to qualify for Europe than Spurs are.
Yeah, at the moment, yes. It depends what happens with Frank, obviously.
That's what show says. Why are we more up compared to Spurs? Because we're Manchester United, mate. We're Manchester United, and legitimately, I do think we've got a better chance of qualifying for Europe than Spurs do this season.
Yeah, but it's just a London thing and bread and just like it's still main guy and that. Players don't. It's like
Manchester, London of the North.
Yeah, exactly. Red Baron says Wu-Tang Clan. That's what gets me up in the morning. Like a bit of Wu-Tang Clan, Owen? A bit of Wu-Tang?
Oh, yeah.
Favorite member of the Wu-Tang Clan? Come on, Owen.
No, because I do.
Have they been involved in wrestling songs or something?
They have. Before? I'm going to type in a name just out of to see if I'm right with this.
Okay. I think Owen's going to find one.
No, I didn't have the right guy.
Okay. No.
I do know it as well.
He knows that guy. Go on. Who did you have, Owen?
No, that wasn't the right one.
Oh. Okay.
As soon as you say one of the names, I'll know it, which is annoying.
Method Man?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I knew that. Oh. RZA?
I did know. I don't know the rest. I knew Method Man.
Okay. All right. You definitely would know Method Man.
I did know Method Man.
Yeah. Red Baron says, when was the last time we had a solid midfield? Yeah, of course. Ages ago. Ages ago. I saw when you wrote that, I saw some people put Matic, Pogba, Herrera was the last time
Yeah.
we had a solid midfield.
I didn't even last that long as well.
No. I don't know. McTominay, Fred, Bruno. You know, bit more balance than now. Red Baron says Sesko will be mint. He passes the eye test for me. He likes him. And Amanor doesn't ask me. He asks you, Owen. Owen, what's this Andy Goldstein bullshit? Flex his mate. So while you answer that, Owen, I'll stay back.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I can say something of Andy Goldstein's done. I mean, he was a Soccer AM presenter for like a year. I remember that. After Tim Lovejoy. Does TalkSport now with Darren Bent. I know that. He's a Man United fan. I know that. I think isn't he really good at snooker or something?
Yeah, now he's at pool. Yeah, he goes and plays in like the World Championship.
Yeah,
he gets battered and we laugh at him.
Yeah,
he does.
Yeah. But to answer your question, Amanor, I don't know, mate.
Yeah, we have seen it. We have seen that there's obviously he's obviously worn the Kobbie Mainoo t-shirt. Listen, Goldstein's does national radio and winds people up and provokes emotion on TalkSport. That's what Drive is. That's his job. So he's done that. Apparently, it says Kobbie's liked it, but it just feels like it's not. I don't know. Not everyone's like. I don't know. It felt like not the right time to bring it up because it's like, has Kobbie really done that? I don't know. It just feels a bit off. Is that real?
I don't know. I looked yesterday. I said that the fact that we hadn't heard anything like worried me. And a lot of people got on to me about that. And I was thinking about that. And I was thinking, well, actually, Owen, don't talk out both sides of your mouth. You say about going on social can sometimes be the worst thing in the world. If that is true, then it doesn't look great, does it?
100%. If Kobbie
doesn't look great.
Said that,
but then when I brought that up before, the day after this stuff happened, I said, what we don't know, and these questions will get asked, is did Kobbie know? Did he sign off on it? Did he know but not do anything? Had he discussed it at some point? Has he spoken to his brother? Like all of these questions are on the table, and immediately that got no. He's got nothing to do with his brother. And my point at the time was,
you don't know.
We can't say that because we don't know at this point, right? Everything like Man United on a match day with that incident, everything's on the table because there is a sheer lack of information really about it. So until that story comes out, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens, really, aren't we? So,
if it even does go further than this,
and I do think you're probably right in the sense of it's probably best for Kobbie not to say anything because inevitably tomorrow Ruben will get asked about it in the press conference, and to be honest, the answer will probably be we spoke about it, it's resolved, it's done, and then. The way these things usually go is in getting close to January, something else will probably happen, to be honest. So, before people start going, and you've got a Kobbie agenda. I'm just saying that we don't know anything at this point, really, do we? No. Good or bad, we don't.
No, we don't. Big up Time Travel. I've seen you try to rage bait me a couple of times. Red Barons, So we'll see. And like I said, if Kobbie has done that, he's an idiot because. Basically, your brother's gone and done that, and then you've co-signed it, through someone else buying the t-shirt and wearing it. So, you got to stay away from it all. Just put your phone down.
Remember, not responsible for family members. Got nothing to do with him. They don't even like each other. They're barely related.
Exactly. Red Brown says, "Do you guys have brothers?" I do. Do you have brothers, though?
I do. I have an older brother, and he's a very good man. He is indeed.
Good man. Shout out to Owen's older brother. I've got two younger brothers. 3 younger brothers actually. Oh my god, I forgot one there. That's really bad. Wow. If you're the nice one, does it mean the other one is destined to be bellend? Is that the rule in nature? No. I'm definitely a nice one, but my brothers are also definitely. But like my brothers are definitely nice as well.
That was a confident one.
Yeah,
wow. Depends who you ask, Fleck. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Ask my mum, and she might say something different. But no, I don't think it always means the other one is horrible.
I was going to say, well, I mean, my brother's probably nicer than me, so that probably makes me knobhead.
Not as Victor Meldred miserable as you. Like,
definitely not. Definitely not. Definitely not.
Lil Yo-Yo says, "Where's your Marmite, Amanor? Pay for your crimes." Yeah, you've got Marmite to eat. I can't remember what it's for, but you did something over on KG's channel, so make sure.
I still say that's not like the worst punishment.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't like Marmite. I don't like Marmite, but it's better than doing like cinnamon challenge or pepper.
That cinnamon challenge is so stupid.
Yeah,
make you cough your guts up. All right. Well, we did quite a lot on Semenyo. Jeez, look at the time. Right, Bruno, let's go. We've got quite a bit to go through.
Yes, Bruno Fernandes, a bit of an update on a possible exit for him. Fabrizio once again saying that Bruno remains among top names on Saudi deal makers for next summer. It's not a realistic deal for January. Decision will be up to Bruno again in the future. This is specifically what he said. For the summer, I would keep an eye on the interest from Saudi. Saudi can return for Bruno Fernandes. It'll be up to Bruno and Manchester United again, but let's see what happens after the World Cup. Bruno has always been a top target for the Saudi deal makers. They will be back. It's not a topic for January. The intention is not to part ways in January. Now, United did say after all of the Bruno quotes and what have you came out yesterday that, or the other day, that Bruno wasn't for sale and he's under contract until 2027. But I think that's them trying to save a bit of face, keep a bit of value on the captain. It's interesting because Kobbie yesterday goes, well, Al Hilal's not guaranteed because, of course, that was the club that Bruno was going to go to because they're having a takeover. But as I mentioned yesterday, it doesn't really matter too much because you've spoken about this before, Flex. The way the Saudi PIF works with the teams that they own is effectively like the Saudi PIF buys or targets the player and then says to one of these clubs, like, where are you going to go? So just because he's not going to Al Hilal, that doesn't mean he might not go to Al Nassr or one of the other clubs. And it's a case of we'll see, isn't it? He seemed open to it in the same way that he seemed open to a lot of clubs in that interview. And the more I did think about this, I do think it is a case of we are so scarred and so used to players publicly coming out and saying comments like that it almost wasn't made as big of a deal as it probably should have been. Like it was a big deal, obviously, but because we're so used to players coming out and saying stuff to the media that we go, oh. When Bruno came out, we did go, but we sort of just moved on very quickly. And you do kind of forget that you go, it's the Man United captain kind of going like, oh yeah, I'd be open to going to Spain, to Italy, and this, that, and the other. And it is true, like when that was like Marcus Rashford, he got hammered for it. Yeah. What's the difference? Like, I get Bruno's probably more of a model professional than Marcus Rashford.
That is the difference.
Not going out on the piss.
Bruno's been consistent. It's the same thing as when you're winning. Like the manager says, you can do what you want, play what you want. When you're winning, you can go to flipping the basketball, you can go to the darts, you can do what you want. When you're losing, or not just losing, because Man United have been losing Bruno in it, but when you're not performing, you know what I mean, and you're arguing with fans in the car park like Rashford, there was a lot of things going on. You're an academy boy, when you're going to be back? You've done the Belfast thing, this, that, and that. It's a different connotation that surrounds you, which then leads to, his family defending him and speaking out, don't like this, Players Tribune interviews at the wrong time. And, it leads to stuff, doesn't it? But Bruno has been, like he says himself, essentially, not in many words, a model pro, never put any criticism my way into, I might play good or bad, but I don't give no problems. I'm always fit. I love this club, etc. And we can see that. He's displayed that from 2020 all the way to now. So that's the only reason why he gets to say this, and we're like, well, we see it. We're literally seeing this interview drop the day after he just slapped it top corner to just like get us back into the game. Still, Bruno doing Bruno things. So on that side, we do move the goalposts a little bit as fans, but then that just exists in football in terms of, again, when you're winning or you're doing what you're meant to do, and you can kind of get away with things. No one really bashes you for it, versus when you do other stuff with the mishaps and getting into trouble and speaking out and getting a bit frosty.
But the Manchester United captain to be saying that, you know what I mean? That is, it's an extra level of responsibility that comes with that.
But what does he? Like I said, in the future, he's saying, "I want to go back to Italy one day." Is it that deep?
he can't now, like, if a player says something in an interview about possibly going somewhere, or I felt like the club didn't want me, or they wanted to sell me, if Bruno goes up to him and goes, mate, come on, you can't say that in the press, not in the media, they can just turn around and go, well, you did.
Yeah, but you know what exists in football, Owen? Levels. Like,
Yeah, well, it's true. It's
true.
true.
Say, listen, you see you, Aiden Heaven, you've been here fucking 5 minutes, mate. You ain't paid 25 games
but that's
anyone else. He's Bruno,
But that's also, I don't think, is the right way to send that message. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The right way to send the message should be, I'm the captain and I don't do that. You should follow my example, not I'm the captain so I can get away with that.
Which is how he's always been, to be fair, up until this point.
It should be I'm the example to follow, I'm the model example to follow on and off the pitch, not, well, look, I'm just more senior than you, so I can get away with it. Because when you do that, that's when you do start building up resentment from other people going, oh, look, we don't talk about Bruno, you know, that kind of thing. You can't.
And the timing, like you say, I do agree. Obviously, they might not have known it would have gone out after Kobbie Mainoo's brother did that thing. But just in November, like, you just don't need to offer it up because, like I said, which you pointed out yesterday when I pulled up the quotes of what he said in the summer, you literally told us, bro, that Man United said they didn't want to sell you.
Yeah.
So why are you saying that they did now? So it's true. Like, what you said it yesterday. What do you want from this? And what we come to the conclusion of is your sense checking. Just laying the foundations, making sure you're in control of the narrative, and laying the bricks down early doors to, you know, what it looks like with life after Bruno. That's what I think.
At a time where United are going after 1, 2 big money signing midfielders in the summer, you're then just suddenly putting out there, that'd be interesting going to Liga or Serie A. My daughter was born in Italy, or go Saudi, and the Portuguese players there, and I can make a lot of money, and it would be good. And as we all know, once you get to the end of a World Cup year, it's like the end of a football cycle, isn't it? You know, this sort of 4-year cycle that a lot of people are on. I know you could say every 2 years with the sort of continental competitions, but really a lot of these players do look at sort of the 4-year cycle, right? Just done the World Cup. Right. What's next? What's next for me? Am I going to spend the next few years here? Or like, what's the future looking like? I've just done, you never know what's going to happen. Portugal might win the World Cup, right? They've got a fantastic team. So, you know, I think it almost was like, well, maybe last year wasn't the right time to go to Saudi because, you know, then United aren't necessarily maybe going to bring in a midfielder. They will if I go, but if I stay here, they won't. And I don't want to root my family too much just for the World Cup. I want to stay pretty, you know, I want to stay pretty calm and relaxed. Don't want to upset too much. Have a good season, go into the World Cup in form, and then I'll see next summer. That kind of thing. And I know the offers will be there because I'm Bruno Fernandes. They'll be there. Yeah.
Like Pepper say, testing the waters. It feels. So I think we've explored, even before this bombshell interview, we've explored that, like, could be Bruno's last season. We've always kind of it was close. He's been close twice now to leaving, which we knew about, and then he's just gone big over on this. So yeah. Right. Kobbie wants Napoli.
Yes, Kobbie continues to be linked with Napoli. A move to Naples ever since the summer, but now with everything that's happening, it continues to gain more momentum. Fabrizio Romano saying, what I'm hearing is that after McTominay's success at Napoli and Højlund doing well there, is Højlund doing well there?
I saw he scored a few goals.
I saw he scored a few goals, yeah. And I've also seen them when they've criticised him. How many goals has he actually scored? Out of curiosity. Because again, this is a perfect example of when they disappear, we just do not pay attention unless we hear that they've scored. Kobbie Mainoo will be more than tempted to join Napoli in the January transfer window. He is open to the move. Napoli are prepared to push for Mainoo. They want to make it happen. They believe Mainoo is a crucial target for the January transfer window, but it depends on Manchester United. So once again, Fabrizio doing a bit of Fabrizio-isms there by sort of saying, basically, it's exactly the same as it was in the summer. They'd like him. He'd be open to leaving on loan. But it's up to Manchester United if they want to let him leave on loan or if they can get a replacement, I suppose, there as well. But I mean, considering, Flex, what has happened with over the last few days, we put the Kev coins on earlier on with Semenyo. Where would you put your Kev coins with Kobbie to, maybe not necessarily Kobbie to Napoli, but a Kobbie January loan exit? And you got 100.
What, and I've already used my 37? Or
no, this is a fresh 100.
Oh, this is difficult, you know.
Well, maybe while you think.
Kev coins, they're worthless and silly. To be
Thank you for that thinking time. I needed that.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm going to say 55 Kev coins.
Oh, just over half.
55% he stays.
I'm going to go with 55 he stays.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm going 55 he stays.
I'm going 80
Which is
Kev
not really
coins.
convincing.
80 Kev coins. Kobbie Mainoo will leave on loan.
Wow, you're almost certain.
I felt that regardless of if he had anything to do with it or not, knew about it, didn't know about it, supports it, doesn't support it, I do think that incident on Monday was a big push.
Oh, you think they'll act on? So essentially, that means that his brother's going to get. It would have worked then.
I think
They would win.
that's going to be. I think that something's gonna happen.
I think if he goes, it can't be because of that, because they'll be essentially giving in.
Not necessarily because of that. I just think that that's going to be something that builds more to this. It's gonna build more. It's been building even, with the journos and what have you. And I just feel like it's going to get to a point where the player's gone for AFCON. Maybe he doesn't actually start the games necessarily that we think he's going to start.
Oh, you think more
and
controversy?
And then it just becomes a thing of go out on loan. Let's sort of come back in the summer and just sort of figure this thing out.
Yeah, but then that means, because who we're going to get then? There's no way they let him go and he's not playing Ugarte and he just goes, fuck it,
I just think also, like we said the other day, I've mentioned this before, with the that screen grab, I think we still got it, of his, when he was coming on and they were saying he's a broken man. And I was like, he's not a broken man, but he's not thrilled with the situation. Of course he's not thrilled with the situation. And I just feel like in the summer, he wanted to go out on loan. And the pushback was, no, we need you. You will get minutes, and just be patient, basically. And I think in the sort of 6 months that have, or however many months that have come after that, his case has only got a lot stronger, hasn't it? I told you I wasn't going to get minutes. So
yeah,
the
only way they let him go is they have to get someone else, though. They have to.
And I think I'd like to. That's what I was saying earlier on. I think we might end up getting a midfielder, maybe on loan. Maybe it is a Conor Gallagher. Maybe it's someone else. Maybe it's a loan for a loan somewhere. I don't see this situation as it is right now. How is that sustainable? It's not, is it?
No, something's got to give. I just don't know if it has to give in January. Because AFCON, because trying to get that, especially if they're trying to get Semenyo as well. If they let Xerxes leave, because that might be. I think they actually probably keep him even more because of that thing happened with the brother.
And also, this is the other thing, Flex, too, is that we think about just the January window being those sort of 4 weeks. But as we saw last year with Rashford, that sort of January window, it really kicks in sort of about now, sort of the last week or two of December. It almost turns into like a 6-week window in the sense of players will start pushing now. We knew Rashford was leaving in January around this time of the year, didn't we? It was around the time of like that sort of Manchester City,
he's been exiled for a while.
Yeah, and then whatever. And obviously, Kobbie's situation isn't the same with that because he's making it onto the on the bench. But I feel like this one's going to get worse. It feels like this is going to get worse.
Unless some people are saying, listen, things can change quickly in football. Surely he's got to. I know this thing's happened with his brother, but this is where Ruben's got to not get involved in it. By merit, you would think he's got to start at Villa. Now, the only problem with that is he doesn't normally fancy Kobbie in the more physical games where we need to fight and that. Their midfield's very good, very physical. If he brings Ugarte in out the cold, though, because Ugarte literally is like, I can't remember the last time we saw him come on. When did he come on? Everton? When's the last time he played? Can't even remember.
I can't remember.
And he definitely hasn't started in ages, but he might. Would he go with Ugarte and Casemiro and stuff for Casemiro's out. Ugarte and Bruno for this game because it's Villa away, it's tough. Because if he does that, then I'll change my Kev coins immediately.
Yeah, and even as I always say, Flex, I don't think it's even based on one game. I don't think one start changes it. I think the writing would have been seen on the wall for a while with this because then Casemiro comes back, then Kobbie's on the bench again. So I just don't see this being. I think they might be a bit more forceful than they were in the summer. I think that in the summer it was maybe a bit of a polite. Can I leave on loan? No. All right. Well, times did he ask? Like 3 or 4 times, apparently.
Yeah. Let's keep saying no, but that's what I'm saying. They could just keep doing that.
And this is also the other part about that thing on Monday. How that is actually handled is critical too. Because if Man United handled that badly, and they say, so imagine they go to Kobbie, right, and sort of went out of order by your brother, you can't come to any more United games. Then who it is family members? You might push back and go, no, fuck you. He can go to Man United games, do what he wants. This is right now. This is really delicate.
This is
delicate
it
anyway.
Yeah.
This is very, very delicate.
And I think Lil Yo-Yo says it perfectly. Yo-Yo's like, we've said it as well. This is all on Ruben. Now, it's not all on him in terms of behind the scenes. They would have discussed it as a team, Wilcox, Barada, and what should happen. But how the message is conveyed after this, and Ruben's emotional, and the Kobbie topic riles him. He's got to be in control of his emotions. And I hope as a club, I really want to see us personally. Let's finish off of how we want to see this play out. What I would like to see personally is, so Ruben, you've been aware as Kobbie's brother, blah 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 blah, whatever the question is. Are focusing on the team. Kobbie had a good performance when he came on the bench. We have faced a really difficult task at Aston Villa. Kobbie, like all the other players, are working hard to get into the team, and that's it. But then obviously that's not going to be enough. So they're gonna go, yeah, but it must have been problematic for you with his brother bringing that on. They'll go back to it, and he just needs to say, listen, I'm not concerned with what's in the stands and social media. I don't even have it. We work on things internally at the club. We all work on the standards of this club and how we need to do that, and we have conversations about that with the players, and that's it. That's like he needs to try and just pour the cold water over it, man, and then we just move on.
It's delicate. This
delicate.
is a delicate one, because let's not pretend as well. There's how many people go to a home game? 78,000 people. We have 75,000 people. Yeah. You don't think a couple of them are going to be wearing free Kobbie Mainoo shirts at the next?
Yeah.
home game?
Definitely. Yeah.
So that becomes bigger. How that's handled,
but you have to ignore that. You can't get involved in that. If Luckhurst says after, did you see the increased number of people wearing Kobbie?
Yeah, or
didn't see what's in the stands, mate. I'm looking on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, even like this is where Man United need to be careful. Like, so if you have a situation where, let's say, a steward goes up to that and goes, "Look, you can't wear that." Yeah. Then that'll be, look at these stewards. They're telling them to get rid of these Kobbie shirts, or they're asking people to leave. Like, this is how delicate this is now. When you,
but that's why they have to leave it. The club can't get involved in even trying to remove that or silence. If somebody wants to wear a free Kobbie Mainoo t-shirt, you have to let them wear it. You do.
Yeah, the next steps are so crucial to how 100%. This is handled, because this could get a lot worse, or it can be nipped in the bud, and it's not a problem.
Because there's some people that want the manager and the club or whatever, the manager to come out and say, "We saw it. We've said to Kobbie, it's unacceptable. This is not the type of behavior that we want. We want a new culture here." And Kobbie's aware of that, and he's aware that he and his family, everybody needs to be on board. They could take a firm but fair stance to say, we are aware of that. I had a conversation with Kobbie to remind him,
It's been handled. It's not
exactly. They need to show a tone of like, we were not on that.
Yeah,
we're not.
No, you can't do that again.
But I'm not mad. I'm not mad if it's like that was too soft. He didn't even go in, because that's not the full story. Behind closed doors, they probably would have had it out, but he doesn't. I'm not mad if he doesn't display that in public, because that's
like the line. The line should probably be like you said. It's been handled, and all of the players have been reminded, about certain rules and standards when it comes to family members attending games, something like that.
That's it.
That's it.
Exactly. There you go. All right, guys. Big up to each and every single one of you. Big show today. Loads to get into. Loads of big opinion as well. We will see you again.
Get all the super chats.
Red Brown. Oh no, yes. Yo. Where's your mama? I'm on the last one. The bomb Malaga.
It's the handles, isn't it? The handles
it's really hard.
So annoying. Yeah.
Say the bomb. Kev Coin's song stuck in my head now. Thanks, Owen.
Hey, yeah.
There There you go,
Yeah.
mate. There you go. Big up to each every single one of you, man. Trafford talk.
It is tonight. The mythic Trafford talk is returning after weeks of not being able to do it for various different reasons this time of the year. Thanksgiving, Christmas, matches.
There you go. Yeah,
It's been
exactly.
But tonight will actually be a thing. Yes.
Tonight will be a thing.
You can get your questions into James, and
I'm sure you've got a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you lot are on, James. So yeah, see you guys later. That will be on. Well, Owen will see you guys later on Trafford Talk, and again we go again in the morning, unless there's any big breaking news of stuff that's going on, which obviously we will bring it to you. Take care, people. We're out of here. Peace.